Welcome back to Perkins Pipes. We've got an exciting episode for you today. We're going to get into a topic that we've never talked about before, which is part of the reason I've got this particular hat on. It's a stylized Roman helmet, ancient Roman soldier helmet. I do Roman reenactment. At some point we will talk about that. That's actually not what we're talking about today. Got one of these estate pipes that I recently refinished. This is a Medico Alma Mater Deluxe. Beautiful little pipe. Can't wait to get this guy lit for the first time. And let's get to talking. So what's the topic for today, and what's this topic we've never talked about before? Well, it is movies. I want to talk about movies. And there's certainly lots to say about movies, quite obviously. Delightful little pipe, this Medico. Yeah, nice little pipe. So why are we smoking the Alma Mater, and why do I have this Roman soldier hat on? I love movies. I love stories. So I love stories however they're told, whether that's in play form, song lyrics, poetry, novels, film, and so forth. And one of my all-time favorite films comes to us from 1960. It's a multiple Academy Award winner. It does feature some Roman soldiers in it. And it also connects with school for me, which is why the Alma Mater pipe, Latin, of course, for nourishing mother, it connects with schools for me. I was first introduced to the film Spartacus when I was in high school. And my high school Latin teacher showed it to us. That's the first time I ever saw it. Years later, I discovered that it was, in fact, based on this book. The book Spartacus by Howard Fast. Good novel. I remember, golly, as I look at the date here, it's been nearly 40 years since I got this novel. And I think I've only read it once. As I recall, I enjoyed it. The book was originally written in 1951. And so the story of Spartacus, real quickly, the historical story is, and a lot of people know the general storyline because of the movie. He was a gladiator in ancient Rome, 1st century BC, and led a slave revolt, a gladiator revolt, freeing not just gladiators but other slaves around Italy. Eventually that was put down by the Roman army, and the survivors were crucified along the length of the Appian Way, the main artery leading southeast out of Rome. Now, the movie itself has quite a story, and I'm not going to get into all that. You should read Kirk Douglas's book about that. Kirk Douglas was the guy, really the brains behind bringing the story to life. He was the executive producer. He was the star of the film. And he's got a wonderful book. We'll throw a picture up here for you about the making of Spartacus. It's really a fascinating book. I've read it. And I knew some of this before, but a lot of detail in there that I did not know. But when Spartacus came out in 1960, it was really quite revolutionary for several reasons. First of all, Howard Fast, the guy who wrote the novel, had been on the blacklist, the House Un-American Activities Committee, Joe McCarthy, all that business. As well as the person who wrote the screenplay, Dalton Trumbo. This is the DVD version, the Criterion Collection version of it. And Kirk Douglas was insistent on making this movie and using their names in the credits as a way to fight back against this really un-American, House Un-American Committee thing, trying to root out communists and the whole Red Scare and all that business. So it was revolutionary for that reason. It was also quite the thing because this was the first of the so-called sword and sandal movies that really didn't have a biblical theme. Christ is mentioned at the very beginning. There's a narrator over the top. He says, in the first century before the birth of Christ. But that's the only mention. So the rest of the movie is just the historical story of Spartacus. So that was different there. I love this movie, and I love it because of the writing is good, the acting is incredible. Just to give you a slight taste of the actors, you've got Kirk Douglas as Spartacus, you've got Peter Ustinov as the gladiator trainer Lentulus Batiatus, you've got Charles Lawton as the Roman senator Gracchus, Sir Laurence Olivier as the Roman senator Crassus. You've got a young John Gavin as Julius Caesar, Herbert Lom as Tigranes, the fellow who's going to try to get the slaves out of Italy on his pirate ships, and the lovely Jean Simmons as the main love interest, Verinia. So you really have great actors from Hollywood's golden years. Just fabulously well acted. It's worth just seeing the film just to watch actors who know how to deliver their lines and really just convey through their physical motions, through their voices, just superlative acting. I will say the Criterion Collection is worth getting because of this. There's an interview with Peter Ustinov in some of the extras, and he talks about some of the behind the scenes kind of shenanigans, if you will, between Sir Laurence Olivier and Charles Lawton, who were not particular friends. Certainly their characters were not friends in the film, and the way they did not get along off camera is quite funny. Some delightful stories there. I say that this makes me think of school, and again, it's why we've got the Medico Alma Mater pipe out here. I say that it makes me think of school because I will never see, if I live to be 100, I will never have seen a film more than I have seen Spartacus. At this point, I estimate I've seen it over 50 times. Yeah, you heard that right, over 50 times. Because as a Latin teacher, I have showed this to my first-year Latin students, and I usually have 2 or 3 classes of first-year Latin every year. So I know that I've seen this over 50 times at this point, and it never loses its interest for me. And in no small part because of some of the marvelous lines. I'm going to bring up a series of pictures here for you. About 10 years ago, I pulled together some of my favorite quotations from the movie, and turned out to be 33 in all. And so I started posting these on Facebook, and I called it 33 Days of Spartacus. And so I was posting pictures from the film along with some of my favorite lines. We'll just pull a few of them up here into this video. Some of them I think are just wickedly funny. And admittedly, you probably have to see the film to really get the full force of the humor of some of these lines. But the lines are funny, they are poignant. There is one scene in the film which, admittedly, when I first started watching it, didn't have the meaning for me that it does now as a father, as the slaves, the escaped slave and growing slave army is moving out of Italy. At one point, the film shows them moving through different seasons to show the passing of time as they're trying to get out of Italy. And there's a scene in winter, and shows a slave couple burying their child, who has obviously not survived the harsh elements. And I see that now as a father, and that breaks my heart every time. Spartacus is a film. It's a film about search for freedom, of course. It's a film about the tyranny of the state. Certainly, Crassus Marcus Licinius Crassus was one of the richest men in Rome at the time. I usually tell my students he's the Bill Gates, he's the Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezos of the ancient world. But he also definitely had a heavy-handed approach to leadership. There's a story about what's important in life. There is redemption in the film. The gladiator trainer, played by Peter Ustinov, who has numerous hilarious scenes. His character has the greatest story arc of all. At the beginning, he is simply, he's a trader in human flesh, right? He buys slaves and trains them as gladiators to die in the arena. And he is a weasel. He's an absolute coward. That shows up numerous times throughout the film. But by the end, he actually is one who helps the slave woman Verinia and Spartacus's child escape. And you see a redemption in his story. So I highly encourage it. The book by Howard Fast, the film by Kirk Douglas, and many others. And I would say this, as always, if you enjoy this sort of thing, you enjoy the finer things, talking about pipes, please click subscribe. We'd love to have you join us here at Perkins Pipes. But pop in the comments. I'm eager to hear from you about favorite, and I'm going to start off with this one and say classic films. Classic films. We all have favorite modern films and movies we really like to watch. Let's stay with classics on this one. Any other famous actors that you particularly enjoy? I certainly enjoy, like I say, Kirk Douglas in this, Gene Simmons, Laurence Olivier, Charles Laughton, so many others. Favorite actors that you have, favorite classic films that you have, and if you have any particular thoughts about the classic film Spartacus, please drop those in the comments. As Malcolm Guite likes to say, I do these little things in order at last to do nothing, or as I like to say in Latin, Parva ago ut tandem, nihil agam. Have a wonderful day.